Good morning, one and all. This is Dr. Diana. Welcome to session 39 on modern software engineering. After completion of the syllabus, we have been looking at a picture dictionary based approach for learning some of the keywords in Agile, and this is part 7 of that picture dictionary mode of learning. And today's keyword, we have taken exploratory testing as the word for discussion. Now, what is exploratory testing? What does exploratory mean, and what does testing mean? Testing is to check for any errors in the software before we deliver, that we all know. So we have done a lot of testing in the traditional approach, including unit test, integration test, the combining them, then deployment, and all of these tests we have already done in the traditional approach. All of them work after we have completed the development. So once you complete your development, you can start testing. But in the traditional approach, we see testing requires a lot of time, because only during testing we uncover a lot of errors. So to avoid that, in Agile methods, we have started practicing the test driven development approach, where we start writing test cases even before we start writing the code. So for every code that is written, we think of what is required or the outcome that is required. We design the test first, then we write a code to satisfy the test. So every time we write a code, it is always written to satisfy a test. So every piece of code that is developed is already tested. So we do not require a dedicated time for testing. So this is one way in which the code is functionally tested the time it is completed. So once I complete development for a piece of code, it is already tested. What more should I test? Will my testing be sufficient before I deploy to the client? So looking into that aspect, we are going to do a process called as exploratory testing. What do you mean by the word explore? Explore is to dig something and to travel on some path without a specific destination, but trying to nurture and understand everything in the way. That is called as exploration. So exploratory testing is also very similar. Now when we look at exploratory testing, this is how exploratory testing looks like. So when I look into exploratory testing, I can understand that exploratory testing works like this. So my exploratory testing is like a functionality. On the left, you can see a structured testing procedure where the functionalities are checked in a structured manner. So one by one, you go through a set of test cases where you check functionality by functionality whether it is working in your software or not. In exploratory testing, we start checking functionalities in an ad hoc manner that we can see on the right side. So in a structured testing is what we follow in the traditional software development approach. So once I go through one particular streamline, the other stream which I have not checked might have a lot of errors. To avoid that, in the traditional testing, we go through every possible stream to ensure that every possible path is tested at least once. But that process is very, very exhaustive. So to avoid that, we are going to do exploratory testing or start testing in an ad hoc manner. Once I start testing on one particular option, I divert from there, branch out from there, and do a little of testing around that spot, which in general reveals a lot more errors than the structural testing methods. So in the other aspect, exploratory testing is a type of software testing where the test cases are not created in advance, but testers check the system on the fly. Exploratory testing is widely used in agile models, and it's all about discovery, investigation, and learning. So every time you try to discover something, you learn a lot of things about your own software. The focus of exploratory testing is more on testing than a thinking activity. So it's like more like a testing process. Tests are, when you compare and contrast exploratory testing with the traditional approaches, these are some of the major differences which we can identify in the exploratory testing procedure. Tests are not defined in advance. So that's a very major contrast between the traditional and the agile approach. And exploring with a general mission, you don't specifically point your destination and walk towards that. You just randomly walk across and then find out ways. So you start without a specific step-by-step instruction on how to accomplish your mission. And moreover, testing is guided by the results of previously performed tests and the gain knowledge from them. So imagine I start working on a test. I test a particular test case on the software. Now depending on the result, if I get a no or if I get a yes, based on that result I design my next test case. That's called as exploration. And testers can apply the deductive reasoning to the test outcomes. So once I find the result, based on that I can deduce and then follow my intuition to framing my next test case. The focus is on finding defects by exploration. So instead of demonstrating a systematic coverage, I explore defects by ad hoc exploration. Then I have a parallel learning of the system under test. So I can design a test case and I can parallelly execute the test case. And experience and skills of the individual tester will strongly affect the effectiveness of the results in exploratory testing, because it's mainly the tester's intuitions that are being tested. So if the tester is able to think of all possible problem spots, then your exploratory testing will be very effective. But if the tester is a very novice programmer who doesn't know what to test, it will be very, very ineffective. So this exploratory testing has 4 main phases. While performing exploratory testing, you can take it into 4 phases. The first phase is learning about how your actual software is working. The second phase is designing of a test case. The third phase is execution of the test which you designed, and then you do an analysis as the fourth phase. The analysis is understanding why you got the result for the particular test case. Now if I explain with an example, you will understand it better. Imagine you have a software for coming up with the attendance. So my software is doing the attendance recording and reporting process. I have a learning model. The first thing I do is learn. The first thing I will do is check on how the software is allowing you to enter attendance. Check on how the software is generating the report on attendance. So these two are learning phases. Once you learn that, then you design a test. You design a test so that you enter one particular value inside the attendance and check whether your software is accepting or not. So this is a test case. You write proper code for that test case and execute that test case. So you execute that. Once you execute, that becomes your third phase in the exploratory testing. Once you execute that particular test case, you will get an outcome. Whether the software sometimes the software may work for the value that you gave, sometimes it may not work. So these two are the results of your test execution. Now we should understand why it worked and why it did not work. That is called the analysis of the test case. So for every test case, you'll execute the test case, see the results, and you try to interpret and understand and delve deeper into the result that you got. That becomes the fourth phase, or the analysis phase. So learning is anything that can guide us in what to test, how to test, or how to recognize a problem. Design is where you create, fashion, execute, or construct according to the plan. So explorers design, whatever you people design as exploratory tests can be reusable for most of the time. And execution is doing the test and collecting the results. Execution can be automated or it can be done manually also. There are a lot of automated testing tools that can help you execute test cases. And the final one is analysis. What do we learn from the program as it performs under our test? What is the inference that we get from the test that we executed? Are we supposed to change something? Is some change required or not? Now there are certain tools that can help us with the exploratory testing. The first one is called as a charter. We have observation, note taking, and heuristics. We will look into each of these tools. Now the first one is a charter. A charter, as you can see, is more like an index card or a checklist which can help you guide through the exploratory testing session. Now before beginning an exploratory session, a tester should have some idea of what to explore in the system and what kinds of things to look for. This charter helps the session focus. An exploratory session typically lasts for 1 or 2 hours. The charter for a given exploratory session must come from a completed story which you have already completed with the development. And you can generate charters by working with the team to understand what information would be most useful to move the project forward. Charters are the testing equivalent of a story. So you jot down all the points which are to be checked in that particular story with the help of the entire team. This forms as a checklist. Use this checklist for your exploratory testing session. The second tool that you can use is called observation. Observation means the testers have a different eye for things. The automated testing tools do not understand the semantics of the code. They only understand the syntax of the code. So they know how to test and what to test. But a programmer looks at the code in a different perspective. So the moment they start looking at the code with the eye of a tester, it rips off some of the aspects of the code and it reveals a lot of errors or bugs. So this observatory eye can help us understand some of the bugs in the software. So this is one particular tool which is exclusively gained by experience. So as you can see from the figure, an observer or a tester has a different eye for things. They look beyond what is pasted in front or the screen. So they are able to remove that screen and then look underneath the code and find out bugs. So that's the observation which most of the testers have. Automated tests only verify the behavior that the programmers write them to verify. But humans are capable of noticing subtle clues that suggest all that is not right in the software. So exploratory testers are continuously alert for anything out of the ordinary. Such observations lead exploratory testers to ask more questions, run more tests, and explore in new directions, by which you can infer a lot of things from your software. The next aspect is exploratory session tool is the note-taking tool, which is very, very important. As we start testing, we usually don't keep up with the guide that we started with. So once you identify the result, you start just checking on another one. Based on that result, you go somewhere else. Based on that result, you go somewhere else in your code. So it is not a very guided or a planned or a structured testing. So there is a lot of possibility that you start wandering inside your code looking for some errors. So when you happen to do like that, we often forget what all we tested. So this note taking tool can help us stay on track or keep a note of all that we have tested. So while exploring, it's all too easy to forget where you have been and where we are going. Exploratory testers keep a notepad beside them as they explore and periodically take notes on the actions that they take. Instead of just note taking, you can also use screen recorders such as Camtasia to keep track of what you do. Be especially careful to keep notes about anything that deserves further investigation. If you cannot follow a path of testing in the current session, you might want to remember to explore that area in more detail in the later exploratory testing sessions. So to do that, you need to keep note of everything that you are doing in the current session. The last but the most important tool in exploratory testing is the heuristic principle. Heuristics mean anything that is a wild guess. So I have a lot of thoughts. All of these thoughts help me in testing. All of these thoughts are experiences that I have gained, but out of that, I should be able to put that thoughts into some streamline and generate some test cases. So heuristic is a well-educated guess. All the experience that I have gained over the years is more like a jumbled set of chords. So I have a very entwined piece of twine. I can untwine it, or I can untangle those twines and then put it into some structure that can help me do the testing more effectively. So remember that exploratory testing involves simultaneously designing and executing tests. Some test design techniques are well known, such as boundary testing. A heuristic is a guide, a technique that aids in your explorations. Boundary testing is an example of the test heuristic. Experienced testers use a variety of heuristics gleaned from an understanding of how software systems work, as well as from experience and intuition about what causes a software to break. So based on their experience and their knowledge that they have gained over the years, you can just guide your exploratory testing for it to become even more effective. You can improve your exploratory test efforts by creating and maintaining a catalog of heuristics that are worth remembering when exploring your software. So you can maintain a catalog of what all experience you have gained over the years that can guide your exploratory testing sessions. Some of the heuristics will be specific to your domain. Some are basic in nature. For an example, for a domain specific heuristic, imagine if you're working with a networking software, then you must inevitably work with IP addresses. IP address are going to be the main thing in a networking software. So you probably test your software to see how it handles an invalid IP address such as 999.999.999.999. So if you should be able to throw an exception or to indicate the user of what it exactly wants or what are you doing and all that. And you might have to test with a special IP address such as 127.0.0.1, and you also might have to check how your software responds to a different style of IP address. If you are designing your software, you must take a note of whether it is compatible for both IPv4 and IPv6. But in general, heuristics, you can also look into some generic heuristics which are nearly applicable to most of the software projects. The first one is called as the none sum all principle. So for example, if you have users with lot of permissions, you can create users with no permissions, you can create some user with some permission, and you can create one user with granting all permissions. Then you try checking on your features which are in the software and how it works for each of these three types of users: the user with no permission, user with some permission, and user with all permission. You check on how your software works for all users. Then there is also the Goldilocks too big, too small, and just right principle. This is more like a boundary test where you have a numeric field, for example. This numeric field you can find, you can try adding an image to your software. When you try uploading an image, check with a very big file, check with a very negligible size file, and check with a medium size file. That helps you understand how your software is going to pop up errors based on the size of the image that you upload. Then you also have a principle for positioning inside the selected list. Say for example, you use a list for maintaining roll numbers. So in that case, check how your software works when you try reading an element at the beginning of the list, at the middle of the list, and at the end of the list. This can help you understand how your software works in those areas. You can try inserting an element at the middle, beginning, and the end to see if it works fine on all occasions. And you can also check the count as 0, 1, and many. Imagine you have a lot of billing done over a POS system or a point of sale system, and imagine you have got only one item billed. In that case also, your software says one items purchased, which means you are speaking in plural when you have only one item. So singulars and plurals on counts should be tested once, so that your terminology is right when you give a message to the user. And when you try to interact with the database, you might have to check on the CRUD principle, the create, read, update, and delete operations. For each type of entity, for each data field that you have in your database, you try to create it, read it, update it, and delete it. That gives you a comprehensive set of tests over the database. Now if you have a lot of user permissions, different levels of users, then you check this CRUD principle for every level of user. That gives you, that covers 90% of the tests that you can do for your software. The last one is called command injection, where whenever your software supports text coming from an external source, more like a web service where you take the input from the user in the form of text, in that case you make sure that it does not intervene with the code that you are trying to execute. So your software's code and the user's command should be handled differently. So make sure you have options for doing like that. So to conclude, exploratory testing is an ad hoc manner of testing the functionalities of your software. Apart from the structured testing which we have seen in the traditional software approach, where you test function by function, exploratory testing instead it looks for errors randomly in an ad hoc manner. And the tools used for exploratory testing are a charter, the observation skill of the user or the programmer or the tester, note taking, screen recorders or like Camtasia can be used, and heuristics play a major role in exploratory testing. We have seen some of the heuristic principles used for exploratory testing, such as none, some, all, Goldilocks too big, too small, and just right principle, positioning based on the beginning, middle, and end principle, counting based on 0, 1, and many principle, the CRUD principle for operating with databases, which include create, read, update, and delete operations, and the command injection principle, where you try to divide your executing code and the command given by the user on your UI. So with this, we will conclude for today's picture dictionary. See you in the next sessions. This is Dr. Diana signing off. Thank you.